All right, welcome on back to another episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today we're going to take a look at Keystone Area 515 out of Pennsylvania. This council was originally formed in 1948 as a name change from Harrisburg area and lasted up until 2010 when it merged with York Adams to form Keystone York Adams. The first issue is divided still into two variants, T1A and T1B. We actually have several examples to take a look at. So we're going to start on the patch table with the T1A, defined by its gold border, blue background, thick red letters, tan bird, straight sides with sharp corners. The distinction in the collecting guide between T1A issues and T1B is that in the T1B issues, the bird will not be a singular color, but the secondary feathers, the tips of the feathers are going to be a darker brown. That defines the T1B. Other than that, they look effectively similar. It does seem as though many production runs of this patch were made. These two happen to be left twills. You can see that sometimes they're a little more blue, sometimes a little bit more blue-gray as far as the background goes. With the production of these, they do have the embroidery backing. You'll see they are cloth back, but they'll have that embroidery backing on them. So these are two examples of the T1A. And then we actually have two different examples of the T1A. So many production runs, it does seem. Sometimes you're going to find that the text is a little bit more bold looking. Sometimes it's a little thinner. Again, these now happen to both be right twills. Again, some look a little more blue towards blue with the background. Some look a little bit more blue-gray. Kind of just depends. Here again, you can see these are just all completely tan birds. If we take a look at the back, also again, embroidery backing on these. So fairly similar production for all of these different runs. They all look fairly similar. We don't have any information from a Keystone Area collector that has these divided out as to what order they were produced in. So they just have several different examples of the T1A. We also, of course, have some examples to take a look at of the T1B. So here you can see the very clear distinction. Now the bird is no longer a singular color. The tips now are a darker brown. That is what is going to define the T1B. Again, here you can see slightly different background colors. The bottom one trends a little more blue. The top one in person looks a little bit more towards the blue-gray side. The sharp corners are going to define the T1s. So whether it's A or B, you're going to have those sharp corners. It's a little bit smaller CSP than what we think of as a standard CSP. Just to have it in contrast with the A. So there's the A. You're going to have the bird be all one color. And here on the Bs, T1Bs, you're going to see the tips are going to be a darker brown. They then took this design and moved it from the sharp corner T1s to the T2, which is a normal looking CSP, a little bit larger. This one happens to have been sewn and used, so not the nicest of condition, but you can see they kept the same design, just moved it over to a standard CSP. That is the T2. The T2, you'll also find the keystone at the center is horizontally stitched. If it was vertical, it would be a T3. This one happens to be a plastic back. In the older collecting guides, they did subdivide the T2 into an A and a B, dependent on whether the flowers were light pink or dark pink. I believe this would be a T2A. I don't believe this is the darker pink, but we don't have both of those. And again, it's not going to be confused with a T1 because it just doesn't have the sharp corners. This is just to show you they did keep that same design as they moved forward through subsequent CSPs. Well, there you have it for the first issues of Keystone Area. Here we'll finish out with a T1A and a T1B. They're both on screen. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of First CSP. We'll be back again tomorrow with another brand new episode. Until then, I want to thank you all for stopping by, making us a small part of your day. You have enjoyed it, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, hope you guys have a great rest of your day.